So these are the top 10 things to do this year to have a really great year. The first one is the once rule. So when you call for your students to give their attention to you and you give them the hand signal or you clap or whatever you do, then you close your mouth and you do not say anything until you have 100% of their attention. You just fold your arms, you just wait until they are all silent, because kids are wired so that they know how many times an adult will say something before they really mean it. And so the number needs to be 1. It's just that simple, and it works all the time. All right, let's talk about rewards. You love your students and you want to give them all a movie day or chocolate or whatever it happens to be, but you're not going to do that unless they earn it. And you have to plan carefully all the points, privileges, and rewards and how they're going to get that chocolate or whatever by earning these points. And that's because adolescent brains really are different. There's this part called the striatum, which is wired for rewards and fun and thrill seeking. And it comes on very early, like 10, 11, 12 years old. And the part that processes consequences or the threat of punishment does not mature until the mid-20s. That's a fact. I wrote a book about this. I'll talk more about that later, but plan for your rewards. Okay, let's talk about relationships. It's very important in this weird time that we are in. There's a lot of fear and confusion. There's been a lot of electronic teaching going on. And so having in-person relationships is something that is very, very important. And that's the whole thing that sometimes we help our students with, is being in a positive relationship, and for them a positive adult relationship. And so sometimes they don't know how to do it, so you have to explicitly teach it, and you want to take some time early in the year to do that. So whether it's how to win friends and influence people, or the 7 habits of highly effective teens, whatever it is, take some time and show them how to do it and practice it, and it will come back to you positively. Okay, let's talk about success. Now, I know you thought you were teaching language arts or social studies or math or something, but really you are teaching your students how to be successful. And one of the things that we want to do is we want to find the rung on the ladder where our students can grab on. So you take whatever task it is, whether it's a homework or a classroom assignment or project, you break it down into all the little tiny parts that make it up. And then you find where your students are and help them with the first part that they can handle to be successful, and then help them come up the ladder. Yes, I know you're not supposed to teach last year's content that they don't know. You're just supposed to jump into this year's, but they can't do it without last year. Okay, so, but still find the ladder and the rung on the ladder and go that way, and it will work every time. And one of the other things that you want to do is make opportunities for your students so that they can turn failures into successes. So many years ago, my mom taught my sisters and I all how to sew, and we were not allowed to have any failed garments. So if we made it wrong, we had to take it apart and put it back together again. And that's a good model to go for in teaching, because you want to teach your students how to recover from mistakes and things that they didn't do and turn them into successes. Okay, that was a great lesson, Mom, and I thank you for it. So let's talk about attitudes. And every time that you teach anything, you teach an attitude. So you want to make sure that you're teaching positive attitudes in your class. Don't be disrespectful to other teachers, to the administrators, to even politicians or other people, or certainly not to your students, because every time they see an attitude, they will mirror it. And so you want to have a good attitude, and it will come back to you too. Okay, you've probably heard about the 5 E's. And the first part of those 5 E's is engagement. And it's great. Engagement is great. But you've also probably been told that you have 5 minutes or 10 minutes or something to engage your students. Well, the fact of the matter in this TikTok world is that you have to have your students engaged in 30 seconds or maybe less, So in order to do that, you want to have something engaging. Now, I am personally a foodie. I like to relate all content to food, and I have a whole bunch of food devices in my kitchen that I like to use. And so I like to find videos about food, and I can relate it to any topic, like any content topic that we teach in school. But let's just talk about this. Here's a little video about a cake and cupcake frosting robot. And so it's only about 4 minutes. And so as soon as the bell rings, my students are sitting down and I hit the play button on this thing. And then, so my students watch it. And while they're watching this little video, I'm going around, I'm silently taking roll. And then I go around and I have a whole bunch of colored, like metallic markers. And I go around and I give my students a check plus, like on their open notebook page, if they have all their supplies out. And so I race around the classroom. It's only 4 minutes. I mean, I have to go really fast, but it's really kind of a fun time in class. And then we discuss the video. So it's a really nice way to go. Now, I also, during class, try and keep them engaged at all times. And I also have like some little like Jeopardy games to play at the end of class. And I try and put things in their hands so that they can make or do things and do projects. Keeping them deeply engaged in class is probably, like, I think the engagement piece maybe is the most important part of the 5 E's in my personal opinion. So I'll do it and it works. Okay, let's talk about streamlining. And you need to streamline things because like there's just so much that you have to stay on top of. So record keeping is one of those things. And so let's take the cupcake frosting machine and make like, let's say that you played that and make a little assignment about it. Call it the robotic food processing device discussion or something of that sort, and make it worth 5 points and give everybody, use a fill function, give everybody an A. And you can back out the grades of the students that weren't there later and just turn those back into zeros. But it's really a nice way to get your grades going. The parents will be looking for the grades, the students will be looking for the grades, and you'll have a great year because you have a good rapport and you have some A's going there. So when times get sketchy and students aren't doing quite as well on some other assignments, at least there's some positive stuff that you can talk about with their parents. So it's a really good thing to do. Now, let's talk about bringing stuff home. Let's say that you're teaching language arts or math or science or something, and you have a 5 problem assignment, or you have a 5 paragraph assignment. Tell the students that you're only going to be grading one of those when they turn it in. And so on the day that it's due, have one of your students come up to the hat. They pick the number out of the hat. Oh, it's number 4. Oh, so you're going to be only grading paragraph number 4. And then you can have another student pick out from the task hat. Oh, I'm only going to be grading it for punctuation or spelling or whatever it is. And so that way you keep it to a minimum, the stuff that you have to grade at home. So all this, like bringing whole piles of stuff home and grading all of it. No, don't even do it. It's, just not the thing to do. Okay, so let's talk about calls home. All right, I know it's boring and you have to go to your Pilates class and you could be watching TV or be on social media or something, but take some time to invest in a relationship with the student's parents and call home and tell them something good about their student early in the year. And if you can, do it a few times, like during the first quarter or semester or whatever, because you want to build a relationship also with the parents. And the students will know for a fact that you have called their home, and they know that they can't use that excuse about the dog eating their homework anymore because their parents. And so it's a nice way to start. And then when sketchy things happen and they start missing assignments, or they, don't turn in a project or something, the parents are not going to come to you and be disrespectful to you. And likewise, you won't have all this resentment because you have invested in a relationship with them too. Will all come back to you and it's all good. Okay, let's talk about electronics. Now, already this year, there have been some teachers, unfortunately, have gone on a rant early in the school year about something that they think about or that they believe. And then some kid was recording them and they put it on social media, and then it's like blown up all over the internet. And then the teacher has been disciplined or worse. And so let's just all assume that we are all being recorded at all times. And we don't want to do or say anything that's not completely professional. And that will be useful and helpful too. Okay, last but not least is to stay safe. And really, I cannot overemphasize this, because something happens to your health or whatever. or some weird thing goes down, the consequence stays with you. And so, you have to stay safe and you have to prioritize yourself. So get your sleep, take your vitamins, take your sick days, do whatever you need to do. And I'm not going to get into the divisive, things about what those are, but you know what you need to do to stay safe. It's like being on an airplane and the oxygen mask comes down. And if you don't put your mask on, you can't help your kids with it, right? And so the principle is the same here. So stay safe and have a fabulous school year. And please, please, please hit the subscribe button. And if you could hit the like button, I'll be bringing more videos and you don't want to miss them. And so this is the book. It's The Adolescent Award Brain, Positive Classroom Management for the Most Challenging Classrooms, and it's on Amazon. And thank you so much for your time.